Welcome to Mining Now. I'm your host, Jared Downey. Today we're talking about, for sure, in the top 5 topics that need to be discussed in the mining industry. A lot of people would rank it a lot higher. Mergers and acquisitions, transparency, and we're going to even expand into talking about how the industry is finding people and finding the right people and putting them into the right jobs. So we're going to cover a lot of ground, and we certainly have someone who can provide a lot of insight on it. Abani Samal is the owner of Geo Global, and he's going to talk a little bit about who Geo Global is and what they do and what he does. But we're also going to cover a lot in the mining industry. So Abani, welcome to the show. It's really good to have you on.
Thank you, Jared. My name is Abani Samal, and I like Jared, you said, I own and operate the Geo Global LLC. This is an international consulting company registered here in Utah, in Salt Lake City, Utah, and we work worldwide.
So how long have you been in the industry?
To be precise, I started my career in the mining industry in 1996, January. So it's been quite a while since I started in the industry. I started as a mining geologist in a chromite underground open cast mine or surface mine in eastern part of India. That's my first job as a mine geologist.
Alrighty, so let's take a moment to thank our sponsors. And first up, we have OptiSeis. OptiSeis is a leading-edge geophysical acquisition design and software company. OptiSeis provides innovative seismic survey designs as utilizing the latest field technology and optimizing for advanced processing and quantitative interpretation techniques. OptiSeis's mission is to bring sustainable exploration solutions to energy development with their custom land footprint reduction technology, EcoSeis. EcoSeis enables operators to focus on reducing their environmental and greenhouse gas footprint while imaging all their subsurface targets and reducing costs. You can visit them at optiseis.com to learn more. Next up, we have Micromine. As your mining projects accelerate, so should your technology. Micromine is a leading software provider to the global mining industry with solutions that support the entire life cycle from early exploration to advanced mine operation. Micromine enables explorers to prospect smarter, model faster, and estimate with greater confidence. They empower mining engineers to optimize strategic mine planning, streamline design, and schedule faster. Micromine's technology supports even the largest mines to gain greater operational control and boost performance. And they provide mining teams with reliable data management solutions to enhance insights, meet compliance, and safeguard digital assets. To learn how Micromine's next generation technology can help you, visit their website at micromine.com today. Next up, we also have Savannah Equipment. Savannah Equipment supplies new and used mining equipment around the world, from placer to underground to ore processing plants. They have gold concentrating tables, trommels, and mineral jigs in stock now to take advantage of the high gold prices. You can visit them at savannahEquipment.com, where you will find more equipment every day. And we also have Power Zone Equipment. When you need a specialized team of world-class engineers for your oil and gas pipelines, dewatering, or any fluid handling needs, you want to visit powerzone.com. In addition to their inventory of rebuilt pumps, motors, engines, they also have an amazing team to design and engineer your systems, no matter the challenge, no matter the location. Get in the zone with Power Zone. Visit them at powerzone.com. And last but not least, we have CIM. CIM is a leading membership organization for technical content and creating connections in the mining industry. Mining professionals and students can access a breadth of technical expertise through the CIM Technical Paper Library, the One Mine Digital Repository, the CIM Journal, the CIM Magazine, and attend upcoming CIM webinars. Whether you're working in the field, in the office, or at home, join the community today and learn how they can help you achieve your professional goals. Visit them at cim.org. Now let's get back to the interview.
What does in '96, what made you decide to make that switch into going out on your own? And so did you go out on your own in '96, you said?
In 1996, I started my career as a mining geologist working for a chromite mining company. They would mine chromite is the mineral for chrome metal, heavily used in the steel making industry and various other things like charge chrome and other stuff. So this is an underground mine based in the state of Odisha in India, straight out of my school from Indian School of Mines. If you know, Jared, that is one of the premier schools in mining industry in Asia, and a pretty well-known school. From there, I went to work for this company as a mining geologist and spent there about 3 years. Due to health reasons, I switched to software / consulting in the state of Odisha, again, working for an entity. They were working with mining software company. Today they're known as Micromine. So I was working for them for a few years.
Sorry, with Micromine, did you say?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Micromine is the software company, but this entity in the state of Odisha, in the state capital Bhubaneswar, we operated from there, working throughout Eastern India with many commodities that we don't see in the North America. That is like chromite miners. Like I said, that's my first commodity. Bauxite, one of the largest bauxite deposits in the world is in the state of Odisha. Then iron ore, mostly that, and then also copper in the central India. Those kind of things we worked for some time. But fast forward a couple of years, I got a pretty prestigious scholarship to study in Imperial College London. That's my third master's program, but it was a wonderful program. After finishing that, I came back to India, basically preparing for my PhD. I had 1 year, but I was lucky to have the first rare earth commodity project at that time for a mining entity, exploration / mining entity in Eastern India. We did a resource evaluation for that project. That rare earth project is actually from the Eastern India, and the commodity that we were after is the beach sand that has the various rare earth minerals in there. So finished that and came to United States to do my PhD in economic geology I registered at SIU Carbondale for various reasons. I was my professor, Professor Richard Pyfaric, is very well known in geochemistry and geology in the exploration world. He's retired now for many years. So I did my PhD there. Before I graduated, I had 3 or 4 offers in my hand. Like you would know, Jared, I came to this country in 2002 January again in the month of January 2002. January 2nd was my first day as an employee of SIU Carbondale and a graduate student actually of SIU Carbondale. As an immigrant, I came there. So within 4 years, I finished my work and the PhD work. I had few job offers in my hand. I chose to work for a very renowned consulting firm based out of they're based in Denver at that time. They were known as Pincock, Allen and Holt at that time. Right now they're operating a different name. I worked there for about 6 years. That was an exciting time for me for various reasons. One was I was traveling across the world. Participating in various conferences and knowing various clients and basically building up my network in the industry. Worked very hard, 12 hours, 18 hours a day, sometimes, some days. Happened to have done like more beach sand projects. So today I look back, I say, wow, I'm one of those guys who know beach sand and basically rare earth commodities, and has done actually resource evaluation for those properties in various parts of the world. And we can go into the discussion more about my experience during that period. Maybe if you are interested, we can dig into more works that how it relates to my career today. In 2012, 2011, end of 2011, it is just I got an offer from Rio Tinto and moved to Salt Lake City. Started there again in January 2012. So sometimes it's a coincidence that January happens to be something changing in my career every few years. 2012 January, I started with Rio Tinto. Again, coincidentally, I was working with rare earth and titanium oxide type of projects because they are Rio Tinto under their portfolio. They have a couple of deposits and also work with diamond and those kind of things. Also, 2015 happened. Rio Tinto organization, they reorganized the entire company. As a result, I decided to basically, given the opportunities within the company, I decided to come out of the company and do the consulting business on my own. So 2015 May, I registered my company, this Geo Global LLC, and I was looking back yesterday. It's been 6 years. I've been doing it, and June 4th was my last day in Rio Tinto. June 5th, I was in plane actually helping someone. So that I guess I made the decision to provide consulting services for a couple of reasons. One, I believed, I knew the both sides of the industry, working as an operator with an operator inside the company, and also the global companies working with various operations worldwide. I also knew the consulting business well. And the third thing I have under my belt is I know the commodities, all the metals I can handle, but not coal. Coal I can do audits and things and reviews, but I'm not a competent person. I cannot sign up. So, but I covered a lot of ground there in terms of commodity. I knew the entire, most part of the world. You talk about iron ore. I've been to Brazil. I've been to Mexico. I come from India. Iron ore and also Canada, US. Talk about copper. I know the major provinces in the world. I've been there, and sometimes I've not been there, but I've done the projects. Talk about uranium. I knew a lot of commodities. There's a lot of areas where uranium occurs, and I've been to some sites too. But 2015 was a tough time to start, honestly, because the market was down, wasn't actually picking up. There were lots of uncertainty. But we started that time, and many, by we, I mean, many senior technical experts really said about, we are also trying to provide services. We can work together. So we are kind of team, but we all have our own entities. We are experts in our own domains. Like I can handle anything in geology, starting from exploration to mine-to-mill reconciliation. Everywhere there is we can talk about what I'm doing today. And I have process engineers, metallurgists, mining engineers always available to provide services. You notice, Jared, I prefer to say that we are providing services. It's not, we don't do projects, just projects. Wherever if I'm hired, if I'm doing a project, I make sure that we're providing services. That means we're making differences to the project. We're making it the people, we are to work with the people in depending on the contract, depending on the type of course, the client situation on the site, with the people in the team, become the part of the team who do the work and hand over the product that we develop or the engineering that we do to the client in a way that they can have the ownership. I think that kind of differentiates me and our associates from other consulting companies that we provide services. We do actually mean that if we do a project, there's a difference that we make in that project. It's not just a project that we complete and write the report. So that's kind of in a kind of a twisted way of my career that why you wanted me to elaborate on.
Yeah, I want to go. I'm actually want to circle back later on in that interview because you talked about your experience coming out of India, and I wanted to sort of, there's obviously a lot of talent coming out of that country. So I wanted to circle back and talk about that. But before we do that, you know, at the top of the show, I mentioned the merger and acquisition side. Can you talk a little bit? Can you talk a little bit about your work in that and sort of why that's so key to the industry on that side of operations?
Yes, that's very interesting area. I'll have to give a little bit of background. Jared, you've been doing this with the industry for quite some time. You recall what happened around 2010, 2011, 2012, and actually it started even before that. But we saw the effects in terms of write-downs in the billions of dollars for bigger companies that made news. What did not make news is smaller amounts. Basically, what that really means that some projects were acquired by another entity. Someone is selling a property and another company was buying it, or there are some financial deals that did not work. What happened then? All this money, someone lost the money. Most of the time, in my own interpretation, is the money of the shareholders that's lost. You know, the money went somewhere, but that's not a good thing. And I was put in the spot various times, you know, being asked the questions like, Abani, could that be avoided? Sometimes I had the opportunity to look into data and give my opinion on that, on the technical side. So when it comes to merger and acquisition, yes, always we look for the good things to happen, and there are many good news actually, but there are failures we cannot avoid, you know, accepting the fact that there are many failures. And those failures are so big that made news and is still in our minds who worked during that time in the industry. Given that, what I learned from those experiences that, see, I just can't fix it because there are many variables. Three variables come to my mind. One is technical. That is, we'll elaborate on those little details, but technical means that did the buyer knew all the risks and opportunities associated with the project, and did the seller disclose all that during the deal is made? That's a question to be addressed technically. Other thing is management, how the whole deal was worked on, and post acquisition was it managed well? That I can't answer, but I have witnessed various times on both sides of the story, good and bad, but I can't address. The third thing is basically the governance part of the whole thing. You know, when you do the multinational type of deals, how the whole thing was shaped by the countries or the regions' governance. That's a very complex issue. If you Google some of the coal deals that was making news during that time, one of the things was one of the reasons for that kind of financial deal, which didn't go well, was the governance, is the access to the land, access to the property wasn't given by the government. You know, I won't touch on the mining side, the management side, but on technical side, in my opinion, a lot could be done. Mainly, you know, from the operator side, it's always good idea to disclose everything that you know, about the property, good and bad. And from the buyer side, it may be a buyer, maybe a mining company, maybe a finance entity trying to invest, whoever that may be. They should not leave the room until they have all the information they have, you know, in their pocket, and basically so that an informed decision could be made. to me, that informed decision was probably that was one of the variables in those bad deals. However, when you see the merger and acquisition goes well, that's also a good factor. The decision was made based on a right kind of data and good, highly competent people were engaged. There was no rush, and those kind of analysis was done well. So that impacts a lot. I can dive into that if you want, Jared, on the technical side of the merger and acquisition.
What I was gonna ask is, so to clarify this, because you've given a bit of your background and then you've set up on the technical side, the merger and acquisition sort of need from both sides. Where do you come in generally? Are you coming in on the buyer's side a lot of the time so that they understand what they're actually, not even understand what they're looking at, so that they don't leave a rock unturned while they're making the decision?
I have, if I look at all the projects I was involved in, actually, Jared, I have worked on both sides.
Okay.
I have worked on actually from the buyer side, I would say 60% of the time, but also another substantial percent of the time I have prepared the sellers to package it well so that they disclose all the information that is required to make a decision. So I have come from both sides, but it's interesting to see from the buyer sides actually, the types of decisions are made. I can give you some real fun examples. The one instance actually, I am a geologist by training, and I have academic. I'm pretty strong in academic, and my technical areas are pure geology, geostatistics. That comes into play heavily actually in the evaluation of any mining project. That means how much grades and tons are there in a deposit, and particularly when there's a merger and acquisition. Actually, what I provide to, and it doesn't matter which side I sit in, how much risks and opportunities they have, and that's very important. Particularly when there's a financial entity they're looking at in investments. That becomes of interest to them to know what is the risk in there and what the opportunity in there in any project they're looking into. But generally, what I realized that people always think about risk as a negative thing. So what is missing in many discussions related to merger and acquisition? What are the opportunities? Can they quantify it? I mean, that's the beauty of doing some analysis that I don't expect everyone to do it. I come in there and say, hey, you know what? You're looking at 15% risk in these, in n number of years. But what you should be looking at also, there is these opportunities. What really that means? If from the buyer side, they can say, you know what? Okay, this is the risk we take upfront. However, if we put some money and there's a lot more to gain in the future, and you bring that into equation, you bring the commodity price into equation, you'll see that there is some beauty that if they know, they will make a better decisions. Another instance, actually, I was engaged to basically give my opinion. They wouldn't say anything to me. What are the risks? What are they doing? I did not know. Okay, fine. We'll do this. We took the assignment. What we found out is that if the entity, the finance company, they go ahead and invest in this property, the payback period they're expecting is not going to happen. It's not realistic. However, that means that the payback period is much longer. what they're going to do in that period, my advice was put some money, explore some, put some holes in there, do some scientific exploration. Why? Because even the payback period is longer with certain assumptions that the ore body is continuous and behaving the way we see it today, then the potential to gain is substantially high in a longer run. That means you would expect a pretty healthy NPV for the project. But looking at a longer term, and this entity decided no, they're not going to do any upfront investment for the exploration. It's their decision. So that's kind of giving those two examples. That's where I come in. But educate them, tell them what kind of decision they should be making from technical side, and leave them there, make their own decisions.
Would it be fair to say that on the larger scale mines, if the buyer's coming in, knowing those, I think it really is perspective. If you have an opportunity to invest in that operation to make it more efficient, to reduce waste, all these types of things, that really becomes would that be more common in a larger operation where there's the scale of if you're investing in it at something at a large scale, it can make a much bigger impact, let's say, versus a smaller operation where there's going to be less money to invest in it to make it more efficient, but the impact is also not going to be as clear either.
You are right. But I think there is something else I missed there, Jared. The mid-sized companies and mid-sized operations. I'm talking about, for a gold project, maybe we're talking about 15, 20 years life type of thing. Okay, it's not a very large project. It's not a small project either. Small project, we're talking about 8, 10 years life type of thing. Okay. Yes, smaller projects, the impact is not very big. For the larger projects, and knowing the opportunities ahead of time, they can always make it huge differences. Actually, we're talking about ESG today, right? ESG was there all the time. We're just focusing today. The whole money is just being focused today. But think about, Jared, when a large project is acquired and being operated with information in their hand that this project is going to make differences in the people's life. That's a huge thing, isn't it? That's a huge thing. But there, actually, at the same time, I brought up the mid-sized companies, where you see in last couple of years, or I think they're going to be more in the trend in a coming few years too, through 2023 maybe. The mid-sized projects, some of the projects that were stopped for various reasons and coming into operation. And these days you'll see few of them actually in Nevada. And those would make actually, some substantial differences cumulatively to take them. I think those people are more, they're making very careful decisions now, given the timing where we sit in today. It's pretty volatile time. Still, what we are very upbeat about what's going to come in front of us. Don't you think, Jared? I mean, the mid-sized companies, if you look at them, whether they grow to big or not, but the projects that they take on, cumulatively, if you look at their impact, it's big. It's pretty big.
I want to go, you sort of touched, I want to switch gears a little bit, Abani. Excuse me, my apologies. And you talked about people. And I wanted to discuss a little bit about, again, we're going to switch gears a bit on this, because the mines now, I mean, I would say pretty much every show we do now, whether it's on the camera or off the camera, people are talking about finding the right people.
Oh, yes.
Now, I would imagine in your role, when you're looking at these operations, and are you seeing that challenge really expanding kind of every day, that there's that challenge of finding people? And sort of, what do you see do you see a solution to it? Do you, or let's actually just start with what is the challenge, and then maybe we'll talk about a few solutions that you possibly see.
Oh, wow! It gives me kind of goosebumps actually, because I'm actually talking at my level, just in person, with some lawmakers in the state actually about it, because I can't talk about it, and I do talk to them what to do about it. The reason I do those discussions is I'm concerned for two things about the people. Sorry, three things. One, having the right kind of talent on the projects. On the projects, I mean on the operations, and also on the service providing industry. Let me clarify what you mean by right kind of talent. For running an operation, you can have interns doing the various small things, right? But you need to run the operation. You need people who have 10 plus years of experience in running that kind of operation, not necessarily that kind of commodity. No, that's it. You can bring in, for example, a person with with experience. Let's say I'm Salt Lake City from Bingham Canyon, who has run basically has experience in large scale operations. You can actually bring them to another large scale operation, and you would know what's going on, right? But given what has happened over the last 5-6 years, many senior people or experienced people are out of the projects. There are some good ones actually still there, but on the operational side, any operation I go, I'm not exaggerating, any operation I go, people are stressed because they have a lot of work to do, and they do not have enough people to do that kind of work. So again, to clarify, the second point is right kind of talent. That means I'm a geologist. An exploration geologist should not, unless should not do resource estimation and evaluation. When they can do simple ones, but when it comes to operational situations, or when it comes to feasibility level studies, that requires a very rigorous work. It requires a high level of mathematics and statistical knowledge and those kind of things. Exploration geologists are fantastic doing the exploration work, doing the logging, getting the code done, getting the database done, all those kind of, there are numerous work in there. But when you put, let's say for example, you put them to the research evaluation, you are not doing any justice there. The project is not doing the justice there. So the second type of problem that we have is the number of people. What I'm seeing today, I have a couple of clients now kind of facing this thing. The number of people, that means if we need 2 people to do a project, do a mandate, we need 2 people to do the mandate. That means those 2 people, let's say we put them in 3 months time, so 2 months time is required to get a good product that a decision can be made out of that, or an operational decision can be made, or an operation go well. But we give that to 1 or 1.5%, the product is not going to be good. So enough number of people is another issue. The third thing is actually, this is actually, because these 2 issues, the third thing, I'll just wait for a second. These 2 issues, can we fix it? Our lawmakers, you talk to them and say, oh, bring the talents from outside. Okay, how much? We have been doing this in this country for long enough, and we're just bringing talents from outside, right? But mining industry is international. There's high commodity demand because of what's going on now. Every country needs people.
Right.
Where do you get them? And mining industry, not actually, you don't produce economic geologists that you need. You don't produce process engineers, metallurgists, and mining engineers. These are 4 major disciplines that you need. It's not just general geology. You need economic geologists who understand mineral occurrences and those kind of things. these disciplines, people trained in disciplines only in the countries where there's a demand for the commodity, because there's always a supply and demand type of thing. You come to a country like India, there's a lot of mining schools in there, and they're producing the people, and they never stop producing. Actually, their structure is like that. You come to countries like in Australia, and they kind of think, we can have a shortage in talent. They took care of that in a kind of a band-aid approach that did in between, but they're doing okay. Come to Europe, good luck having good enough number of talents, but Germany is doing a little bit better. But our North America, you know what's going on there. So that brings to the third point. We can run the mines today in a way we're doing today, knowing that we're not making a good decision there. But are we really ready to support this industry in next 5 to 10 years? If there's willingness, we can. I say this boldly, actually. If there's willingness from the governments, we can. But I don't see that. However, I have to correct myself too, what I said. They have, just in last couple of months, they have, thanks to the issues that we have related to energy supply, energy issues, the battery commodities, and those kind of things, we have kind of woken up and think, oh, what do we do? And it come to a point that give you the outlets where you never hear the mining industry in a year but once, in your public radio systems. You don't hear mining industry at all. You'll see in Canada, you'll see in the US, they're talking about it. At least I have heard 4 or 5 times in last quarter.
Yeah.
Talking about it. It's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you are. You're right. You're hearing much more about it.
And there's a lot more education has to happen. That's what the people like myself and many people like need to speak up. Keeping your mouth shut is not going to help. It's not helping. I had an opportunity to where our senator here was in town hall. I said, this is my opportunity. I got to talk to them. I asked him a question, and we are now having some sort of discussion now. Are we ready to supply enough number of people, trained people, well-qualified people to the industry going forward? Jared, then we'll talk to, that will bring to another topic that probably more alarming. Do we have enough number of professors in the schools? We don't. We have professors in certain areas. Do you have professors to train the people in all areas? We don't. That is just flat. That is not just in the United States. Throughout Africa, they're having the same problem. Not enough qualified professors. They don't have it. Many countries, not all countries. Every country you go, there are some problems. But I think in North America, except there are some good schools, they are maintaining faculty in different disciplines. But they're only, you can count them, 3 or 4 max. That's it. But our industry is booming.
Would you think, I guess, so one question is, how would you attract more professors? But on another part, do you think that this is just a pure question, I really don't have any assumption on the answer, is like, even in the electrical field, an electrician goes, they do a course, and then they're going and doing on-site work, and over a period of years, they're actually working, getting paid, and then they take a couple months off. Is there any opportunity for that type of system where you're getting people into the field faster? It's not purely academic. And then I just was at an event where I don't think any of these students had working experience. They just finished graduating, so they're at the CIM event.
Yes. And they're looking for a job where they don't want to go to work field, right?
Yeah. But it's like, well, maybe this should be, maybe your thing should be 6 years instead of 4 or whatever. I won't pretend to know anything about it, but and then you should be on the field. Could you do something like that in these disciplines?
Absolutely can do it. Again, I come back to it's about in a broader term called policy. Okay, it's a vague thing unless you define it. Policy from the federal sector. Federal governments can do something. It comes down to state government, then it comes down to university level. Then the most important entity in the industry, industry and academia, they can work together. I really thank to our professional society SME. They have been very proactive, setting up a system where industry can put the money and then the PhD scholarship can go. They're already funding PhDs and also funding new generation professors. That's a good thing that professional societies have a role in there, and SME is doing fantastic. I think that only society doing in the world. However, the industry academia, they need to set up a system. Like I like your idea so much because I've seen it happening. I've seen it happening in India.
Oh, so they are doing it in other countries.
Oh, yeah. Within the same time frame. I believe it is the same thing in Colombia. I'm not sure. There are some other schools where, and also, it pretty much depends on the industry and academia, how they work together. It doesn't have to have, 4 years degree or 3 years degree go to another 2 years. No, the internship programs, which fortunately is coming back in a good way. Because industry needs people. They're realizing, I think we are kind of at that time frame now, Jared, when everyone is trying to at a realization point. They're thinking of what we need to do. They're experimenting with few things. But that is an absolutely great idea. And the industry should demand that we need students who have done paid internship, not unpaid. For any work that you don't pay, you don't get anything out of it. Honestly, it's not.
I don't even begin to. It drives me nuts because you're literally attracting the people that are willing to do anything, which is working for free, as opposed to somebody that wants to work at a very high level. And
Yes.
you need to make a living. You do not work. There's still some of this idea, and I've seen it around, is that it's like you perform better under pressure. There's enough pressure.
Industry
having enough food to
already.
eat. There's enough. Yeah, it's like an athlete being like, okay, your first 2 years, you're not going to make a living. Like, of
Good
course
luck.
they're not. Now they've got a whole other kind of stress while you're trying to put them, asking them to perform at a high level. It makes absolutely no sense.
I think that's a kind of it has a multiple tangle and multiple kind of areas what you asked. I think we should discuss that because we should discuss that honestly. The first thing is many students actually unofficially I mentor them. I advise them not to take any assignment without payment, not to take any assignment, provided you know what you're doing. And don't take an assignment where they in the first job, right? Interns type of thing. Interns are supposed to receive training while being a little bit productive. And we're just paying them peanuts, honestly, compared to a full-time employee.
Right.
Okay. That's okay. That's their students anyway. Okay. But they should be paid. I'm also anywhere, any of my clients ask me, I say, look, I've advised many people, please hire people in the summer, train them. They could be your future employees. Okay, please pay them. I advise the same thing I have to, package them 2 different ways to both sides. And actually, if you have developed that kind of relationship with the industry, I think it's happening in Utah, happening in Colorado, happening in Nevada, I'm pretty sure actually in Canada also. Some companies coming and hiring interns with an intention to keep them. It's just happening.
Right.
But it should be more global.
Right.
Because I think Australia is already in the track. Australia hiring interns from outside Australia. Hiring interns from outside Australia. They are coming to India and getting the interns from there. Okay, they are that proactive. I mean, I have seen people going to from Indian School of Mines or IIT BHU, going to Australia, going to Europe, and working as an intern, coming back, and their resumes built is like a win-win for both sides.
So are those paid interns? Like would an intern from India going to Australia, is that a paid intern?
They're very well paid, actually. I think by the time they're out from the internship, they kind of, I think it's a rare thing. Let me say it this way: it's a rare or uncommon thing that this international intern is hired and not having a job offer from the hiring authority or somewhat similar to that. But there's one other issue also, Jared. You will see mainly when it comes to senior manager level, senior management level, the designation can be anything. We're talking about 15, 20 years plus experienced people. There's a need for those talents in the industry, but they're being filled by the people with less experience and less payment.
You mean at the lower tiers of the company, there's that resistance there?
And personally, I knew a couple of instances where that happened. I said, it's not a good thing. Yes. But what that means, actually, there are only a couple of entities, a couple of companies you will hear in the entire North America where employees want to work. Why, you think? Salary, the culture, right? Today's world, we know that thanks to COVID, we don't have to work 8 hours a day, but if we need to, we'll work 16 hours a day. But I need my time. Flexibility, that comes into with the culture. And you pay them, do not bargain with the right talent. Yes, there are unreasonable expectations from some people. Don't worry about those. Right talent, pay them, and give them flexible life. There are a couple of companies, I don't want to name them. You would hear them about them. People are sending the resumes like anything, honestly. So that's another thing that you won't hear, right, from the employers, actually. But that's a fact. That's a fact.
It's going to be an interesting thing to see. I mean, you and I could probably talk about it for another 2 hours and not even scrape the surface. I hope we get you back on the show. It's going to be, I think we need to, as an industry, I think there needs to be more of an appetite for trying things out. And I think you're seeing more of that, but just like pilot programs, like mining companies, operators actually getting to go, let's try this new intern program. Let's try it out, so it's not costing anybody too much. I think this needs to be a little bit more of that. So the risk is brought down, but you can just try things. And
experimentation, yes, that's happening. And Jared, in my last 20 years, what I have seen on the technology side, but we only, when it comes to experiments, we think about technology only, but there are many other areas you can experiment.
Right, exactly. That's what I'm saying. There's the HR experiments, and there's a way to get people, try these new things, have, students coming from India that they get to work in 3 different mines, over 3 years, things like that just expand the operation. But it's not, but you need to have some sort of thing in place that you can make those, take those risks in it, because everything has some risk to it. You can take those risks without it landing on the shoulders of one entity.
You put it right way. I'll give you an analogy where the industry stands now with the experimentation. On the technological experimentation, I really don't think Americas, both Canada and US, we experiment boldly the new ideas. It's South Africa does it, actually. Okay, you go to this, you have seen, probably you went to CIM. I was here in Nevada with the GSN. This automated scanning, right, of the codes, right? This AI implemented, blah, 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 all these things. You know what? 5-6 years ago, I met with a very senior officer, a very senior person, actually, in the technology area. Sorry, I'm not taking the names, from a gigantic South African mining company. You probably already guessed it. And they are experimenting a bunch of things.
Mhm.
We always think that American, we do experiments. Yes, we do experiments in here, but they take risks. They took risks. And I asked this question to this gentleman: do you think the geologist is going to like it? So this particular one technology, they're scanning these rocks. That's the course for a faster way, for the faster interpretation, so
Mhm.
that everything can be much more faster in the process. I said, do you think geologists like it? They said our people loved it.
Right.
And I said, why? So look, this is not replacing the geologist, the technology. What
Yes.
it's giving is a
Yeah.
tool.
Yeah.
So it's a fast interpretation, but it's not the best, all the interpretation. So they can go to the next level and do the work.
We just had an episode about that, a company that's doing a version of that. And
Mhm.
their slogan is something like helping geologists focus on the actual skill set that they have. I'm butchering their slogan. That's not what it is, but that's the concept of it. Is
So
we're
this
getting
thing,
all of this stuff out of the way so that the geologist can do what they're actually trained to do. In looking at,
exactly.
yeah.
There the you just knowing the rate of acceleration in the technology.
Yeah.
I had this discussion 6 to 7 years ago
Mhm.
with a person who came from South Africa. When we are building this thing and marketing this thing in North America, they are already experimenting within the mining company.
Yeah.
So experimentation in the technology is not new. I think we'll all do good. We are actually evolving. That's
It's
fantastic.
part of the culture. That the technology experimentation is part of the culture.
Yes, and the other part of the culture is what we also touched upon is the hiring people, experiment how they can do it, and can we keep that thing. One area that touches me actually, like in the people with 20-25 years experience in industry, they don't want to work for corporates, or they are not aware providing services, those kind of things. One of the experiments that some people are doing, I'm directly or indirectly involved in some companies. They're pretty bold. What they're saying that, look, we don't have the talents, and we can't have the talents in next couple of years, but we have to manage. What do you do?
Mm.
So my advice to, or my contribution to those kind of discussion, let's try this. Let's try this until we figure it out. Let's assume all of us come together. There are a lot of talents available, but you need to buy them. I'm not saying that you get them, you need to buy them.
Mhm.
Buy the talents for some time. And
Right.
there are a bunch of experts. You need how many? I'll give the names. You have to buy the talents, use them to train your people.
Right. Yeah.
And you're not hiring these guys full time, no, but they're so experienced that they've got so much things.
They can expedite the process.
Exactly. And there are a couple of projects that they're doing it. We'll see how that goes. But in my assessment, they're doing good. The two ways they're doing it. One is I'm directly involved. I'm training their people. Basically, Jared, like in the beginning, I said I provide service, right?
Mhm.
Instead of me doing their work, I said, no, I don't want to replace your people. I want to train your people so that
Yes.
they can
Yeah.
run your project well. You do not want to call me again in a couple of years' time.
Mhm.
I leave your people with the skills that they need.
Yeah.
That's a model. Jared is not very popular, but whoever is that's experimenting, I think they're getting a benefit out of it.
Yeah.
In a different way, Jared is also working in Europe, in Africa. The same model, but in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah, that is, we see it even on the production side. I just went to an event and I walked through and I saw people had their cameras set up, and we spend the thing with our company, this is all we do. We do this exact thing. So we're obsessed with every detail of it. Well, I went down to 3 or 4 different, they had their cameras set up, and within 30 seconds, and I don't think I'm exaggerating, I could see flaws in the systems that they had. Because
Yep.
it's experience. It's not, every person there would be equal or greater intelligence as me. They probably have even been in the industry longer than me, but there's this particular skill set. I don't even know how to run the equipment. It's the irony of it, but I know the setups. And within 30 seconds, if they had said, hey, here's $1,000, can you spend an hour and
Training
map
us
it out?
how to
Yeah,
do it.
and map it out for us,
Exactly.
tell us what to order and how to bring it.
Map it out.
Yeah.
That's the right phrase here.
I
Map it
I
out.
could improve the efficiency by probably 30% of
Oh,
everybody's operation at that. And that was 4. So for
I-
$1,000, of course I make money. Of course I'm going to charge a premium
Why
for
not?
that skill set. But they're saving, if they're saving 30% time and they're
Exactly.
paying somebody for a 40-hour week, you just increase your output by in a huge way.
So that realization, Jared, is related to culture. Only a couple of companies I know. I mean, but there are many companies. Maybe they're beyond my
Right,
radar.
yeah.
But they're already doing it. That's a
Mhm.
fantastic thing. First is accept accept that we have a problem.
Yeah.
Then address it. I'll not take again another name of the project. They don't have any qualified engineer, any qualified geologist in this particular mine. It's a small mine, and I was engaged there for a couple of months last year, helped them, and I said, where you guys are is not easy. This year they said, Abani, I think we know what you can do. Can you come over here for 5 days? I said, what you got now? What are the changes? The problem is the same, not having enough good kind of people and enough number of people. What I am dealing with actually in this particular project, Gerard, people, semi-skilled people,
Mhm.
I have to, so that's, I'm a trainer, as you know, I know how to train the people, even though they don't know anything, how do I bring to a point that the operation can at least run? Now, whether they want to bring more skillful, that's their problem. I cannot make a decision on their behalf. But at least what these guys did, they said, okay, we can actually up the skills of these people now to support the operation. At least they realize there's a problem. I gave a lot of credit to them. I said, look, guys, we can only do this, and beyond that, you need that kind of people.
Yeah. Right.
So that's a fantastic thing that you said.
Just that clarity right there, just that
Mhm.
clarity for them is helpful.
Yes, they're at the end of the day, it comes down to the money, how you spend money and
Mhm.
where you want to spend money.
Yeah.
Okay, and these guys, this particular project, I know they're the people who are spending money, and they don't want to come to talk to me. They're busy people, but they knew that Dr. Samal is on site. And they're
Mhm.
like, okay, fine, we'll be fine this year. But that's their approach. At least for this year, they'll be okay. But but having the clarity, having the realization, I guess that's the word, that we have a problem and we have to address it. I'm not saying that we can fix it. I'm not saying that we just leave it like that, but at least we can address it. That's a big thing in the industry. I hope that the senior management, at the senior management level, they understand that more and become more aware. Jared, there is a greediness, you probably know, in the industry that people cannot come
In
to
humans.
humans. Right. Some people think that we are the people where people want to work for. I
Right,
wanted to ask
yeah.
one thing. Would you not like to work? I said, even delete my resume from your system, please. I don't want to. It's not that you don't pay enough. It's not that enough. It's just the culture.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
think, anyone should come work for you. I think the time has changed.
Yeah, they have. Yeah.
We got to realize that time has changed. We need talent. We need to spend time and money to acquire the talent and keep them.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. And I will clarify, and it's something I'm actually just starting to understand. It's as my career, I'm always trying to learn, is that I think companies are sometimes getting confused with culture. Needs to lessen, a great culture should lessen expectations. When in fact, if people have high expectations on themselves, some people will crumble under it, of course.
Yes.
But a lot of people, they feel responsible. They feel that, and so I think companies are trying to find that balance between trying to make a good culture, but that shouldn't be at the expense of high expectations for people, because that gives people meaning. And that's the thing that you need if you're going to go to work, especially in a remote location or something like that. There needs to be a reason to be there.
Oh, that is such a topic, Jared. I haven't discussed that at least in the last 2 years, but I think a couple of years ago we were discussing that in a forum. I think in India with a bigger mining company. One thing, Jared, I'll give an analogy. I'm sorry, from a daily life. You take a child, give him $5, okay? Say, hey, it's your decision. What we're gonna be cooked today, dinner, is entirely based on your decision. You'll see the shopping he's gonna do. What I'm saying here is what is happening in the mining industry, not everywhere. There's some good spots. I've seen really good spots, really good ones. Mid-sized companies, some what we call junior small companies, but they do a fantastic job in this area. Giving the people the ownership.
Yeah.
That is missing. That is missing. What we treated people like machines. We did. Entire industry did it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everywhere.
Oh, and in so many. I mean, it was, yeah, for sure.
But if I was told, Abani, here is the project, you make a decision. We know who you are, and I have been lucky to have people surround me.
Yeah.
So Abani, don't come to us with a question, because we know that you're coming to us to clarify. We know what kind of decisions you make, and they're my gurus. Honestly, I respect it so much, and I never went there to them because they trust me. And when I become a consultant, I see that. Okay, I don't have to. I know what we're doing. Once you say that to an employee, and when I mentor the people, this is my tool. Actually, I tell them, and this is what I would do if I was running a mining company. Look, you are not an employee here. You are a team member. Okay, you are a team member. What you do really impacts the entire company, whole company. Okay, your decision is very important. Don't about money. Take that risk out. Take that thing out of your mind. Do your work. If you need anything, I'm by you. You see how people will perform. People will work in the middle of the night. I have done it.
Yeah, may as well. Yeah.
And they would say, look, my little one's birthday is today. I am not gonna come to work. Guess what? Project will go on because I've already done it.
Right. Yeah.
That's what the people want today. Irrespective of the age, I want it today. People out of the college, they want to, but except the guys, you talked about, Jared, they don't want to come to field.
No, they crumble, and this is the thing. You think, they crumble so quick, and you see it. It's there, and the more independence you give those people, the faster they will let you know they are not up for it anyway.
And some of them I say, you need to be in the fashion industry or something. If mining is not the thing,
which is okay. That's okay. But it's better. Yeah, it's better to get them there quicker. It's better to get them there quicker.
Exactly.
What you can do with someone like that is, if you put a lot of boxes and rules in place, you might get them for a year as opposed to 3 months, because if they're too independent, at 3 months it'll be obvious they're not up for it, right? So
Jared, I've seen a process engineer, such a talent, and went to such a good school. This person was given independence by her boss only. We're talking about only 5-6 people team, very capable team. This person comes out of school, I think a couple of years in the industry. I said, don't call it experience, it's exposure. Up to 5 years, you call it exposure, not experience in the industry. Right. And we are mining industry. There's a lot to learn. Okay. And we gave. I was on the side actually watching the industry. I'm a geologist. They're process engineers. We're dependent on what kind of data they're getting. So just leave them loose. I mean, give them independence. And you can see in 2 months, this person came with the thing why should not be doing the work. I talked to our boss. You are lucky.
There's nothing to hide behind. Yeah, there's nothing to hide behind. It's just her. Yeah.
It's just the person doesn't want to do the work. I think they use.
And that's great.
That's
That's-
fantastic. They
yeah.
found this person suitable on a more desk type of job. There are many
Mhm.
things you can do.
Yeah.
This person can perform better. But yeah, this is I don't see it as a problem, rather an issue which should be addressed quickly.
Yeah, it's very Abani, I have to wrap this episode up. I know you and I could probably go much longer than this. But we've covered a lot of important ground. I hope you come back on and we get to sort of dig into a few other areas because I know you have a ton of experience and the global experience. I would love one day to compare some of like the different work cultures you've seen and operated in. There's lots to cover, but I want to thank you for coming on the show and hope we get to see you back on.
Thank you, Jared. Appreciate this opportunity to be on your show. I hope the viewers will get something out of this episode. Thank you.
Well, I'm sure they will, and I certainly did. Thank you everybody for watching. We're going to put lots of links to Geo Global on our website, on our YouTube channel. We'll be tagging on LinkedIn as well as Abani, so you can connect directly with him. So much to cover. I wish we had more time with him, but hopefully we'll get him back on. And thank you for all the support and suggesting guests to us. It's been just mining now has, just exploded for us, just episode after episode. And a big reason to that is because of the industry support. So thank you for that. We will see you on the next episode of Mining Now.